What's up everybody, welcome to John's Daily Hustle. Today we're going to talk about what problems do I have with my Hyper Tough 2-stroke trimmer. Something broke on it. Just to show y'all, it does have 22.2 hours on it. Plus about 10 more because I put about 5 hours on it before I put the hour meter on it. And then I put there's probably about 5 hours on top of that where the wire actually came out while I was using it. So it's probably got pretty close to 32 hours. The one complaint I do have about this, which you guys are going to see this more in my review video of it, is the head here is actually very cheap. I've already had to replace this head once because of how cheap it was. I probably will end up putting an Echo speed feed head on it, but for the time being I just wanted to get a good use out of the one that originally comes on it, as well as for the videos for you guys. This piece actually broke. This is the part, the actual bump feed part. When it actually broke, it was cheaper for me to just replace this whole head here with that part, as opposed to trying to source and find this part. You know, I couldn't find just that, so I had to buy the whole head together. So when I put the head on, I actually spun it on really tight. I'm used to my Echo heads over there where, you know, putting it on just a little too tight doesn't quite make that much of a difference. At least it hasn't for me anyway. So anyways, I started trimming with it and I noticed the more gas I would hit, it used to spin like a lot. Like I would just bump the gas on it and it would just go spinning crazy. This time when I put the new head on, I knew I put it on too tight because when I would hit the gas, it would take a lot of power to get it to spin. But knowing me, I decided to put this thing through hell and I continued to run it. As I was hitting the gas, all of a sudden this started locking up on me and I heard a grinding sound coming from inside here. And I pretty much knew that the gears in there were being stripped. So you guys know me in typical John fashion, I wanted to run this thing to the ground. I continued to run it and run it at full throttle until all of a sudden it locked up and it actually stopped spinning. It locked and it wouldn't spin no more. And then it broke free, but then it wouldn't spin at all. I could hit the gas and rev it as high as I want and it would just over rev and not spin. So I pretty much knew I either broke the shaft or I stripped the gears in there. So we're gonna take the head off and see what we can come up with. All right, so I got the head off and we're gonna take this piece out and let's see if any gears fall out. So far, nothing. I was expecting to see some metal shavings in there. I'll bet you the gears inside are stripped. Now one thing to note, you can see that there is actually no grease down in there. I have not greased this since I bought it. I'm going to assume that the gears are stripped inside. So I bought a new head for it and I bought proper grease. So we're going to keep this grease. Now again, this is a residential grade trimmer being used commercially, and like I said, it's got about 30 to 35 hours on it commercial use, which is about 1 to 2 full seasons. It uses just your regular average homeowner. By the way, if you guys are interested, you can find this link in the description as well as this link in the description to get your trimmer grease and get your trimmer head for your Hyper Tough trimmer. So I'm actually going to further inspect this. We're going to take this head off and inspect the shaft and make sure the shaft isn't damaged. And then we're going to swap this out. Now if the shaft is damaged, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Before I actually take this all the way off, I want you guys to hear what it sounds like with the gears now that I got the head off. I don't know how well you guys can hear that, but you can hear there's definitely some metal on metal, and it's actually locked up. I actually can't spin it past that right there. There we go, now I just broke it free, but then it gets locked up again. I just got the head off and look what I found inside. Let's see how well you guys can see that in there. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a bunch of metal shavings down in there, and there is grease in there. I was actually surprised to see that it did come with grease. Further inspecting the shaft actually doesn't look bad, and that's actually grease that's inside there. As you guys can see, I just got on my fingers, so it definitely had plenty of grease. Now after further investigating it, you can actually see it is the gears inside. I'm going to spin this little shaft here, which should spin that little squared piece, which is where the shaft goes in. But you guys will hear it grinding, and you guys can see it's actually not spinning at all. You can hear the grinding. It might catch and spin just a little bit. So I'd say these gears are completely shot. For a reference point, that's what it should do. As I spin that shaft, that squared piece in there should spin. We're going to throw this new head on it and see if it works. I actually put just a little bit of WD-40 around here and just a little bit inside that rim there just to try and make it slide on easier. So now all you got to do is just make that squared piece line up with that shaft there and slide it all the way in. Now it can be tricky because sometimes it won't slide and you'll have to spin the square to get it to match. And then you'll have to use some force obviously to get that down on there. You'll know it's lined up because it'll actually go all the way back down and seat perfectly where it last left off. You'll see that line. So now I'm just going to put my bolts back in it. Alright, so I've got the head on it. So now we're going to fire this baby up and see if it works. not too bad of a problem, considering that was the only problem we've had with it was this gearbox going out. It could have been my fault for not keeping it well lubricated like you're supposed to, but again, I just wanted to run this into the ground and just see how quick it would make any problems, or how quick would any problems happen for you guys. I do recommend going ahead and changing this out, which I'll put a link in the description for an Echo speed feed head as well. I do recommend changing it out for that, and you'll have a lot better look and it's easier to find parts. But again, in the description below, I will put a link to this gearbox, as well as the gear oil I use. If any of you guys run the Hyper Tough or the Ryobi trimmers and you have a similar problem, you guys can check the link below and get your parts ordered. Real quick, if you enjoyed this video, you thought it was entertaining or maybe helped you out at all, please go check out that video right there. I think you would really like it, as well as YouTube recommends you go check out this video right there. And hey, if you like both of those, please consider hitting that button right there, and please subscribe. As always guys, thank y'all for watching.